Hello friends, this is a short seminar on an effective main strategy for the aspirants who are appearing in 2023, and in this seminar we'll be covering the varied aspects of mains because the mains preparation, it is basically in layers, and if you do it with complete sophistication, mains is something which is very scalable, right? Because of late what has happened in UPSC is pre has become very dicey, that you cannot determine or you cannot master the skills which are required, or you cannot be very sure shot of clearing pre. But in mains, it's a step by step strategy that we are going to discuss, and if you follow that strategy sincerely, religiously, there is a very high probability that you will clear mains, right? So the very first layer of your mains preparation is content, and this first layer is the most important layer which people tend to neglect, right? We tend to do the content only which is being taught to us in the class, but the real test begins after you have done things in your class, right? For example, if you've done a topic in class, so there is one material which your teacher has provided to you. So go back home and add your own value to it. Add some topper's notes to it, add some other insights or some other good books material into your own notes, and then enrich your notes. And after enriching your notes, what you do is prepare a structure out of that topic, use Google, search that topic along with the UPSC tag, and then make subheadings of the topic, and then prepare the topic in total. For example, suppose there is this topic, effects of globalization on Indian society. It's a topic of GS1 society. So suppose you have been taught something in class, right? And then you go back home, you search effects of globalization on Indian society with the UPSC tag on Google. There will be 2 to 3 or 4 websites which are coming. Just open one of the websites and see how they have opened that topic into various subheadings, right? And then note down the additional dimensions into your own notes. ठीक है, उसके बाद what you can do is pick up some topper's notes on society and see how he has approached the topic, globalization, and then clubbing all those 3 sources, make your own structure of the topic, make your own structure of globalization. These subheadings are something which you're gonna divide globalization into, and then make your own notes out of it. ठीक है? For example, if it is for globalization, so you may do some definition, some data, some quotations, some dimensions of globalization, impacts. Then there is this topic deglobalization, and then ancillary debates on globalization, which is nothing but basically how globalization is being related to other topics in previous year questions of mains, right? So using all these 3 sources, you should be wise enough that globalization के ये dimensions बनते हैं paper perspective से. And after that you begin your own note making after clubbing all these sources, and you will fill these subheadings in your own notes, right? For example, definition of globalization, World Bank definition देती है, it is the integration of societies and economies across the world. ठीक है, तो this is a easy enough definition. कभी भी globalization का question आए, you can always start with this definition of World Bank, right? Similarly, data, trade as a percentage of global GDP has increased due to globalization. That shows that we are into an era of globalization. Some quotations, just search the internet for quotations on globalization, you will get one. Dimensions, for example, there is an easy analysis of globalization. There is a political pestle analysis, they say, political, economic, social, technological, legal and environmental pestle. Political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental. Apart from that, there is a security dimension to it and an ideological dimension to it, right? Pestle plus security and ideological dimension. These all these dimensions, all these varied dimensions you will get when you read multiple sources, and then club all these sources to make the content your own, to add value, क्योंकि अपने notes बनेंगे which will be different from the other aspirant, right? And then impacts can be done as positive impacts or negative impacts. Then there is this topic which is in vogue now, deglobalization. With the emergence of right-wing politics, Brexit, make America first, right? So these all have shifted the debates from globalization to deglobalization, wherein countries are looking inwards to their own polities and economies rather than opening up their borders, right? After that, there are some ancillary debates which you'll get from previous year questions. For example, linking globalization with culture. How there is a positive impact of globalization on culture and how there is a negative impact. Similarly, globalization and religion. Similarly, globalization and youth, globalization and labor. So, what I want you to do is, I'm not teaching you this topic. I want to generate a skill in you, that how will you complete a mains topic which is mentioned in your syllabus in total. So these are all the things that you should do by referring to multiple sources and then making a broad structure out of your own understanding, and then filling that structure from multiple sources. So this is what is required in the content portion. See, when your content is basically of a very good quality and it's your own content which you have religiously prepared, what happens is in most of the questions you'll find that your intros and conclusions are already done, because you have done so much on you've had so much fodder material on that topic that your intros and conclusions will always be done. Because see, the definition of globalization can always be used in an intro of a question on globalization, and the quotation, a neutral quotation, can always be used in the conclusion. So in this way, if you prepare notes in this format, each and every topic which is mentioned in the UPSC syllabus, if you prepare in such format, so you will have a very great edge in mains. And mind me, these small things will at least fetch you 0.5 marks in an answer, because if you write a quotation, it will at least fetch you 0.5 marks, and 0.5 marks in 20 questions is like 10 marks per paper, and there is like 4 GS paper only if we can score such 40 marks का gap पड़ सकता है. And 40 marks में पूरी UPSC की list पड़ी होती है, इतने से ही margin है. तो these small things will help you go a long way. So what I want you to do is prepare good content. After content, the game lies upon answer writing, right, for mains. So if we go for answer writing, so there is this CAPS thing. Addition of value, context, presentation, and structuring, right? So this is how I have divided answer writing into. Number one, once your content is done and a very good quality, very good grade content is done, so what you gotta focus is hitting exactly what the demand of the question is. For example, the 10 marker questions, they have only 2 pages, right? Suppose 2 pages are there in 10 markers, and there is no scope to beat about the bush, right? You gotta write just 2 to 3 lines of a brief intro, 2 to 3 lines, ये जितनी मेरी 3 उंगलियां हैं इतनी सी intro लिखनी है, इतनी end में conclusion, और वो 1.5 page should be your body, and it should be exactly what is being asked in the question. Exactly what is being asked, उसकी heading डालो और उसके pointers लिखो, exactly following the keyword, right? This is what is expected of you. And if you start beating about the bush, what happens is, in most of the candidates, my friends and all the candidates that try to get things evaluated from me, what is a common mistake is, when you start beating about the bush, when you start to write what you know rather than what is being asked, it consumes a lot of space in your answer copy. There's a fixed space, 2 pages होते हैं 10 markers के लिए, थोड़ी सी intro लिखेंगे, then they start a little कि ये मैंने extra किया था, इसको भी लिख देता हूँ थोड़ा सा, चाहे वो क्वेश्चन में पूछा नहीं है. तो उनकी वो जो मेन बॉडी के लिए स्पेस है ना, वो हाफ पेज की बची रह जाती है. तो जो मेन आंसर था उसको हाफ पेज, और जो बाकी द थिंग्स, द साइड्स विच वर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड एज सच, उनके लिए 1.5 पेज, तो वहाँ पे नंबर करते हैं. And if you make it a pattern in your answer copy, if the examiner sees it's a pattern in 2 to 3 questions, he'll award very low marks, because based upon your initial 2, 3, 4 questions, a mindset will be generated that this person writes on this lines. ठीक है, तो so you gotta be very careful about writing, just hitting the demand of the question. Then the second thing is addition of value, right? Now in every subject there are different kinds of value additions that can be done. Number one, the value addition will come from your content, right? If you have prepared your content well enough, you have mentioned data, quotations, some good intros, quoted some organizations, some conclusions, some best models, some international best practices, some good committees which have given some recommendations. So what happens is, from your content only you can add value. ठीक है, उसके अलावा the things that can add value to your answers, it is basically maps, it is basically flow charts, it is basically some diagrams, some linking diagrams that this will lead to this, some virtuous cycle diagrams. Now if it is for maps, right, suppose you got to show Indian Ocean region, so in an international relations question, so what you got to do is just box that, right, and just shade this part as Indian Ocean region. IOR you can write, right? See, just box the things and then draw a zoomed in map. ठीक है, and the skill of drawing diagrams just as it's in the books. Suppose this is an typical A4 sheet you are having, right? So just don't draw a diagram in the middle of it, because space is very precious. You got to write a lot in mains answers. So what you got to do is, कि एक छोटा सा बॉक्स बनाओ राइट साइड पे, ठीक है, इसमें अपनी जो भी डायग्राम है, ड्रॉ द डायग्राम, मेंशन फिगर दिस सिग्निफाइंग दिस, राइट योर आंसर, यहाँ पे थोड़ा इंडेंटेड करके लिखो, एंड आफ्टर दैट जस्ट कीप ऑन राइटिंग योर आंसर, सो दैट जस्ट एज इट इज इन बुक्स, ठीक है, इंडेंटेशन के साथ, सो दैट ऑल योर स्पेस इज कंज्यूम्ड एंड इट लुक्स वेरी नीट. ठीक है, तो ऐसे करके यू कैन ऐड वैल्यू फ्रॉम योर ओन कंटेंट और डायग्राम्स, फ्लो चार्ट्स विच आर इन एडिशन टू योर कंटेंट. आफ्टर दैट द थिंग गोज फॉर प्रेजेंटेशन. प्रेजेंटेशन इज बेसिकली this only, that number one, see, there are some people who have a genuine problem of bad handwriting also, ठीक है, तो their presentation ought to be a little less than those with very good handwriting. So an easy tip for them is, people who, see, beautiful handwriting is not what is necessary, but a neat and legible handwriting is what is required of you, right? So if you feel that you have a bad handwriting, just use these 2 tips, that you start giving equal spacing between different words, ठीक है, and equal spacing between different lines, and increase the space a little between lines at least. So this will help you a lot. I've personally seen people improving through this technique. Apart from that, whenever you draw a diagram, this is the pattern, ठीक है, एंड उसके बाद प्रेजेंटेशन में देयर इज़ वन मोर की. सी, देयर इज़ अ नेचुरल वर्ड लिमिट, ठीक है, natural style of handwriting. Some people write very big in a big font, some people write in a very small font. So you gotta be comfortable कि आपका वो जो 10 marker which is of 2 pages, क्या आपने दोनों पेज भरने हैं या आपने 1.5 पेज भरना है, ठीक है. तो you decide it beforehand, and if you decide that you are going to fill 1.5 pages only because your writing is very small and it consumes the word limit is already breezed in 1.5 pages, so in each and every 10 marker you should write 1.5 pages. ऐसे नहीं भी किसी पे 2 लिख रहे हो, किसी पे 1.5 लिख रहे हो, because it sends the wrong impression, ठीक है. apart from that, the game goes on structuring. Now structuring the answer is basically, number one is following the keyword, number two is following the question. Okay? Now sometimes the question, there are questions which demand your opinion, that what do you think upon this particular topic, right? So we being aspiring to be a bureaucrat, there is nothing black and white in bureaucracy. There's always gray areas. So you gotta give your opinion on both the fronts. You may be inclined to a particular front, and that front you can add more points to, but you gotta mention the flip side as well. Okay? So for example, if a question is being asked, do you think globalization has led to a denigration of culture, right? ऐसे करके क्वेश्चन आ गया comment. तो now you don't have to take just one stance कि हाँ globalization से culture dilute हो रहा है, because there's a lot of intermingling, people are interacting with each other, there's a global culture which is developing, but apart from the same time, the local culture is growing global as well. The national culture is becoming international as well. For example, International Yoga Day, spiritualism of India, right? So you got to write points on both the fronts. Even if they've asked, do you think, you may write in the conclusion that sticking to our roots is something which is cherished across all civilizations. So although we are getting modernized and globalized, we should stick to our roots and try to preserve our culture. Okay, neutral enough definition. Conclusion. So after content, the game starts on caps. Caps karke, what you gotta do is start writing answers. Content करने के बाद you gotta start writing answers, and then try to use all these ingredients in your answers. ठीक है? Now let's talk, if a candidate is going to appear in 2023, so what should be the timetable for that candidate? Right? Now the timetable should be as such कि till if we start from today till December or till January also, you prepare dedicatedly for mains, right? You complete all your topics which are given in the UPSC syllabus law, paste it on your walls, do read the syllabus daily, right? And you start doing those topics on the format that I have discussed earlier in globalization. You club 2 to 3 very good sources, then make your own structure out of it, and then start completing that mains topic. ठीक है? तो ऐसे करके pick it subject by subject. One strategy is this: you just sit back at home and do all the topics of UPSC subject by subject, A to Z. सारा कंप्लीट करो अपना मेन का नोट्स, बिकॉज सो दैट वेन एवर यू क्लियर प्रीलिम्स योर नोट्स आर रेडी, योर कॉन्टेंट इज रेडी, ऑल यू गॉट टू डू इज राइट आंसर्स, राइट टेस्ट सीरीज. ठीक है? द सेकेंड थिंग इज यू कैन डू अ ईयर लॉन्ग टेस्ट सीरीज, राइट? For example, at Raj also there are good test series available. So what happens in those test series, they have divided the syllabus into small sections whose test is on a weekend or on a weekday, right? So there is like 6 to 7 days to prepare that small section. What you can do is in that particular week you can complete just those topics which is mentioned in the test, make your own notes out of it, and then you can test yourself also at the end of the week. Personally, I did join test series. I joined 2 test series. So I used to give 2 test series side by side. So apart from that, I used to prepare my mains notes as well. ठीक है? तो सेकेंड थिंग इज दिस कि टेस्ट सीरीज ज्वाइन करके यू कैन keep up a timetable, keep up a pace of your preparation. What happens is when you start doing things on your own, sometimes the motivation gets down or the pace gets slowed, your targets are not met. So such things can be avoided if there is a fixed timetable through a test series. Now having done all this, what is the ultimate sophistication in your mains preparation? ठीक है? We have done the content, we have done how to add value, how to enrich your answers, right? And we have discussed a broad strategy of mains. Till December or January, I have told you that you should thoroughly focus upon your mains, and after that you can switch into your this prelims mode. Dedicatedly you can prepare for prelims, or you can just spare 1 hour daily for mains, in which you revise just in 1 hour. You revise what you have made, the notes you have made, and not only the GS component, be sure that you complete your optional as well, and make copious notes out of it, because it carries a very huge weightage. So we were talking about the ultimate sophistication which is required in mains. So what is required out of you is कि after doing all the content, after adding this value, you get the skill of self analysis, right? Suppose you write a test, and that you write a question, you get it evaluated, or you just evaluate yourself, and you see that these 6 pointers are there in which I am lacking, or the evaluator who checks your answer copy has mentioned that these critical things are missing. Okay? For example, your presentation is not good, your structuring, you have missed upon this particular aspect of the question, your intro and conclusions are not in sync. Okay? तो ऐसे करके he might find some mistakes, some shortcomings, critical shortcomings. So what you do is don't go for the next question, just write that particular question again. Right, write that particular question again and try to address all these problems. And even if one of them is addressed, one of your main problem is addressed by writing that question again, don't go for that thing कि नया question लिखूँगा, नया पढ़ने को मिलेगा, नया content आएगा. Don't go for that. Improve your skill. Write that particular question again and try to fix what was wrong in the earlier thing, and then evaluate yourself कि वो 6 pointers थे which I had to be careful of, how much justice did I do when I wrote it again. So this particular exercise will not only improve your shortcomings, but it will help you to develop a critical thinking skill, कि how to critically evaluate your own answers. And you'll see with the passage of time, you'll develop this skill, you'll be able to judge your answers yourself. Just लिखने के बाद पता लग जाता है कि आंसर अच्छा लिखा है कि नहीं. ठीक है, that is why what happens is, if some toppers reappear in UPSC, they get very good marks at mains because they have mastered the skill of self analysis. ठीक है, they know what are the dimensions which have to be covered in a question, how all the presentation structuring and context has to be in sync, and then they make a very good presentation, very good answers, and through self analysis they know it. So this is the ultimate sophistication that I want you all to have in mains preparation. Apart from that, in mains, what else is required is that this journey is continuous. There are no breaks in it, right? Because there's a lot to be covered. It's like 4 months are till December, 4, or if January you say, like you have 5 months. 5 months are sufficient for your mains answer writing as well, and mains content making as well. So what I want you to do is to make consolidated notes out of the same. One strategy for optional that I personally used was, see, optional, there's a lot of content to be remembered in an optional exam. So my optional was sociology. So my optional was sociology. So what I did was, number one, I prepared my content from my class notes, 1 topper's notes, some famous authors' books, and some other teacher apart from my class. अब इन सभी sources को club करके I made one set of notes which were my own in some structure. ठीक है, 4 sources को club करके I made my own notes. अब उसके बाद क्या है, the next level of thing is कि then I started making consolidated notes out of this. Consolidation is the key basically in mains preparation, right? When I clubbed all this, made a structure out of it, फिर उसके बाद I started making micro notes. ठीक है, optional के micro notes as in take an A3 sheet which is basically 2 A4 sheets combined. उस पर मैंने उनको छोटे छोटे कॉलम्स में डिवाइड किया and then I started writing in micro terms like this. These are the subheadings, and then I started filling the subheadings in micro terms. And there are like around 20 chapters in GS1 and 2, and in 20 A3 sheets my entire optional was finished. I have just 20 sheets. If someone tells me that I have to write optional in a week, I still can do the same because I have all the material in 20 A3 sheets. So this is a level of consolidation which is desired out of you. So if you prepare sincerely at each and every level of mains preparation, there is no one holding you back. And if you develop that skill of critical self analysis, then definitely you will be at a position where you'll be very confident before entering the exam, before giving mains. So the mains are approaching very near. It's starting from 16th, right? So my best wishes to those who are appearing, to all my friends who are appearing, to all the fellow aspirants who are appearing, and happy learning. Always there's this quotation that I always give, that don't be serious, be sincere. So there's nothing to be serious in this exam, but at the same time sincerity is the key ingredient. When you gotta study, you gotta study. ठीक है? So happy learning, prepare well for mains till December, January, and then shift your gears to prelims mode. Okay? Thank you.